Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. There is something really, really wrong with retirement. This is not good. I am an avid watcher of Michael Zuber's One Rental at a Time. And recently he was sharing some data on retirement, and then it set me down a rabbit hole of research that I did so you don't have to. He was talking about people who are currently retired with a median income of $34,000 a year. 50% of their income often coming from Social Security. 97% of them having debt. 30 or 15% of the people 65 and older having student loan debt, right? The numbers are not good. A percentage of them live below the poverty level. This is normal retirement age, which I don't like to tie retirement to an age. I like to tie retirement to income that comes in without you having to sell your life 1 hour at a time that lets you pay for your life and have enough of a buffer to where you can be ready for those things that are going to happen in the future because they're going to happen. Because the purpose of my content is to help the average individual understand that you can reach financial freedom, make work completely optional in 10 years or less, even if you're not starting from the best position. The goal is to have a better retirement, but the best outcome is if you were to retire early. To me, early before 65. We have those things that tie our retirement to age. 59 and a half, you can access your retirement account. 62, you get Social Security. 65, you get Medicaid, which can cost a lot of money. Because so many people at 65 and older live below the poverty level, and because so many have a median income of 34,000, yeah, Medicaid gets touted as it's only a couple $100. But if you retire with any amount of actual income, your Medicaid can cost you more than your healthcare did. I mean, there is a caveat there to it. So, in my research, I looked up a couple of things that I'm going to share with you. So, this first is retirement by age. If we're talking about early retirement and even normal retirement, my goal with my information is to help you. If you work until 65 or later, maybe don't live below the poverty level. Maybe don't have Social Security be half of your income, and maybe don't have that $34,000 a year be the median or the mode. When we have data like 48% of Americans between the age of 55 and 65 have zero saved for retirement. Now, the sources for my information are at the bottom of these charts. So if you're one of those pedantic people like me that likes to verify things, you can zoom in on that. But the number of people in 2025 who retire by the age of 40, this means never work again, is 0.5%. I think it's that low because there's not really consistent data. This one, no matter what research I did, I couldn't get any number other than 0.5%. I think most of the searches were like, yeah, it can't be zero, but we're not going to give you a recognizable percentage of the actual number of people that are in the US. So by age 50, 6%. I retired at 52. So I fall between the 6 and 11% of people who retired by 55. So this is 2025. We have access to more information than we have at any point in history. And now you're adding AI to the mix. We have had YouTube University for, I want to say, over a decade, where it was more than just dancing cat videos. We have access to social media. We have more information to help us learn things like it is a really simple concept to make work optional. The fundamentals of spend less than you make, save and invest the difference is more available to everyone than it ever has been. So you would think that in 2025, when I'm making this video, hello, Futureland, how did AI work out? Are we still around? Am I still around? I think YouTube content creators are going to be one of the first people to get replaced because we are replaceable. But how does this look if we look back, let's say 20 years ago? That was my idea. If 20 years ago, we have the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. We have access to information. People should logically be retiring more today than we were in the dark ages of the lack of information. So if we look at 2005, that 40-year age retirement, same sources quoted at the bottom of the charts, is 0.5%. I still think it's a lack of data. They are afraid to say it's zero because there are some people who win the lottery and some people who make smart decisions. There are the Cody Davises of the world and the Christian Osgoods of the world and the Millennial Mikes of the world who start investing and making smart decisions when I was still messing up my life with marriages. But by age 50, it's 9%. 20 years ago, it was 9%. At 55, it was 19%. Now, the 55 might be a little bit larger because at 55, more pensions kick in. But that 50 being 9%, we have access to information, access to educational content. And between 2025 and 2005, because sometimes numbers don't make sense unless we see pictures, 30% less people are retiring by the age of 50 after 20 years of YouTube University, social media. The problem is more information is not the answer. The right information is the answer. If you start searching on YouTube University, what gets the most views? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the FUD. You have the wait for the crash people because it happened, it's going to happen again. Yes, it will happen again. That doesn't mean you don't take action. You have the people use this advanced strategy because after my decades of investing, I've learned how to flip and wholesale and burr. Sure, with all that experience and the resources and the network that you have, it makes sense. But that new investor that starts out with that hype culture of hustle is the only way to do it gets a lot of views. Why is Alex Hormozy so viewed? Why is Cody Sanchez so viewed? Because it sounds great. So it's not even just the negative Nancy's out there. It's the people that say you have to own 10 different businesses. You have to work 20 hours a day. The risk involved with the amount of work it takes to be successful with hustle culture and the risk involved with taking no action of the crash bro contingency means there's a ton of people not taking action and there's a ton of people taking the wrong action. Because what works, what is super boring, is consistent. Get a job. Spend less than you make. Save and invest the difference. Enough money invested into stocks over a long enough period of time to let compound interest make the 4% rule work for you, or even dividend stocks. And when we say crypto is the best performing asset of the last 10 years, well, Bitcoin, not crypto, who knows what it's going to be in the next 10 years? Buy cash flowing assets. Live a frugal life for a period of time. It's not forever. It's for now. The future looks pretty bad for most people. Less and less people are retiring early. People are retiring with worse financial futures than we did in the past, with that half your income being Social Security, $34,000 average income at retirement at 65. These numbers aren't good. There is something very, very wrong with retirement, and I believe the problem is, same reason why I don't do many dates. People don't like boring, but boring is freaking phenomenal when it gives you all of your time back, when it lets you beat the statistics. And that 9% of people that were retired by 2005 at the age of 50 that dropped to 6% is probably going to be less in the future because the future looks crappy for most people. Yours doesn't have to. This is a nice short video I'm making for people who would never click on a 2-hour live stream. But if you want your questions answered live during a session where somebody went from $89,000 in bad debt in their name they didn't know about until the divorce, as a single parent with 3 kids, making $17 an hour teaching people how to drive trucks because I got laid off from law enforcement. And a decade later, at the age of 52, because I didn't even start until I was in my 40s, retired, traveling trying to find the best scuba and sharing the information with you. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a live stream that lasts as long as the questions do. I hope to see you there. And I hope you have a better financial future than it seems like almost everybody we know is having. Because more information isn't the answer. Bad data in gets you bad responses out. It's the right information. And to me, boring is sexy.